The little evil shouted, "Is there a next time it comes to me? Is that good? I have been asked to save you, and the next time I am caught, you come to save me, and I will show you another example." Presumably, the world has searched every corner, and only Yang Xiaoxie, will he be in the mood to do this kind of demonstration? This is not playing with life, but playing with something only he will say so. If you are caught, can you decide for yourself? Can you take turns? But he has already said that he will be caught as much as possible. There are strange things every year, and there are many this year. Xiao Ding laughed and said, "If you are caught, I won't save you." Xiaoxie is right. She turned to Xiaoxie and said deliberately. Xiaoxie nodded violently, smirking from time to time. "If you hear it, you can hear it, but if you don't know it, I'm afraid only he knows." The little evil nodded and pursed his lips and shouted, "Xiao Ding, you are still so fast. Xiaoxie and you have only met for 3 days, and you will join him to fight against me. Well, there's a set, but you just asked me to leave in a hurry, crying and screaming. What does that mean?" Xiao Ding's face flushed, and he immediately suppressed his laughter and filled, "That be. That's a joke on your part, don't take it seriously, stinky beauty." The little evil smiled and said, "Yes. Now the times are different, girls can make this kind of joke." Little Ding Deng was red-faced and shouted, I won't talk to you anymore." She stomped her foot and pursed her lips. Xiaoxie shouted, "If you don't say it, I'll suffocate you to death later." He already had the heart to suffocate Xiao Ding, no longer talking to Xiao Ding, and turned to Xiaoqi and said coolly, "Xiaoqi, although we have only known each other for 3 days, we have become good friends. If you have difficulties, I will." He wiped his hand on his neck and said, "I am going to the soup to play the fire, and the food is cooked and not eaten. Do not give up to save you, and I am in trouble, I also know that you will also save me." He patted Xiaoqi on the shoulder with confidence. Xiaoqi also smiled and said bluntly, "Death, yes." Xiaoxie glanced at Xiao Ding and said, "Xiaoqi has something I want to tell you, and if you make friends in the future, you will find this kind of thing." He pointed at Xiao Ding, "If it is, the end will be similar to me. As soon as it is difficult, she will find me to be happy, and deliberately ridicule me. Do you say that you can make such a friend?" Xiao Ding was sad by this and forgot the precept of not speaking. She said angrily, "Little evil you! How am I?" The little evil really looked like a 5-year-old child arguing, with his hands on his waist and pretending. He shouted, "Don't forget your precept not to speak to me." He is really good at forcing people, and this statement reminds Xiao Ding not to break the ring. Xiaoxie is happy in his eyes, and he won the first round. Xiao Ding was so angry that he was at a loss, and he didn't know how to place his 2 hands. Fortunately, she held her mouth and didn't speak again, as if she had suddenly been stuffed with a big bun, choking. Little Evil took advantage of the victory to chase after him, and said, "And Xiaoqi, this kind of animal, just like a witch and a ghost, gives you fragrant food and spicy food during the day, is very attentive, and pats a big sycophant. If it is miserable at night, maybe he takes a knife and sticks it into you, maybe he saws off your legs, and uses it to beat gongs and drums. It is terrifying." His expression is like a child meeting a real ghost, and it is really difficult to tell whether he is bragging or not. Xiaoqi looked at Xiao Ding and couldn't stop laughing. Xiao Ding's face turned over and shouted, "Little evil, you have been bullying people, I really ignore you." I ran forward and never looked back. She was running in a rage, and her momentum was not slow, and the 2 or 3 ups and downs had disappeared on the forest road. Xiaoxie shouted, "If you ignore it, you will ignore it," who is rare. He saw that Xiao Ding was running in the direction of the official road, and he was not very worried. And playing fun games every day will also make you angry, and it's not wrong to quarrel today. Pulling Xiaoqi, the 2 of them have walked down the mountain. Walking across the stream, I saw that the stream was surrounded by mountains and bays, and the water of the stream was cool and clear. On this sunny day, soaking in it must be a great joy in life. When Xiaoxie saw that the stream was so clear and cool, he immediately shouted, "Xiaoqi, how about we swim? Who doesn't want to take a shower after a while?" They found a large pool, stripped off and went into the water, and had a great time. The small pond is long and narrow, one side is its own wall, covered with moss, and the other side is rocky and sand and weeds, which is very wide. Xiaoqi water skills are not wrong, but there is no way to dive in the water for too long. Xiaoxie shouted, "Xiaoqi, let's play to catch the big vid, I'll be the big vid, you catch it first, and then change people later." Xiaoqixing applauded happily and shouted, "Okay, come on." The little evil shouted, and he had already dived into the water, hiding in a stone seam as a viper. Xiaoqi moved his muscles and bones and jumped into the water to look for the giant shrimp. It's a pity that he is a little evil opponent, and after being kicked in the ass for several times, he doesn't dare to venture into the water, and watch the current situation on the shore before making plans. The breeze is blowing, the green grass is fragrant, the cold spring is soothing, the sun is shining, the trees are shaking, and the people are laughing. A burst of giggles has been heard, both soft and beautiful, like a yellow warbler playing in spring in March, very pleasant. "Hey, little brother, what are you doing? Won't you feel too bored playing in the water alone? Hee. How about I accompany you?" As soon as the words fell, a stunning girl had already floated 5 feet in front of Xiaoqi. The woman, born a stunner, is charming and soul-destroying, about 30 or so, a thin body like a toad wing, a soft and boneless willow waist, pink and moon eyebrows and jade scratching her head. She only wears a red belly hood with a red veil, and her whole body is hot, seductive, exciting, and fascinating, especially the watery eyes, which are even more invisible, and she will definitely fall under the pomegranate skirt as her captive at first sight. When Xiaoqi saw it, he was already demented and looked at her unswervingly. His expression was so shocked, but it was a pity that Xiaoxie was now lurking in the water, otherwise he didn't know if he would be as fascinated as Xiaoqi. The woman giggled, she was satisfied with Xiaoqi's reaction. Needless to say, in this wilderness, such a stunning and bewitching woman suddenly appeared, especially her dress. Tian is not ashamed, she is not a slut or a lewd baby. Playing with her hair, the woman smiled and said, "Little girl, look at you. I look like I'm so confused. I see that people are so scared. My name is Mimi, do you think I'm beautiful?" Xiaoqi was already fascinated, stunned there. The 2 days were like fire, and the heat of the danshan had forced his face to turn red. Seeing this, Mimi gently teased the corner of her clothes and said lewdly, "Little girl, come, help me take off my coat, Xiaoqi immediately walked over when he heard this, took off his coat for her, and hugged Mimi tightly, wanting to kiss Fang Zi. He had lost his mind, showing human instincts, and he didn't care that Xiaoxie was still in the water, looking anxious. Wow! Mimi leaned up on her delicate body, kissed him on the face, hooked Xiaoqi's neck with both hands and said softly, "Little enemy, you are such a strong body, don't worry, let's go down to play in the water." Her words, any man will be moved and unwilling to refuse. Xiaoqi immediately picked her up and walked into the water. He hugged her tightly and kissed her on the cheek from time to time. Bite! Mimi's body touched the water, and she deliberately screamed, as if she reached her lustful and playful heart. She said softly, "Little enemy, the water is so cold, how about you help me rub my body?" Xiaoqi is obsessed with a stable foothold. It has been planted in the water, Putong. And the two of them have gone into the water. The little evil has long been impatient in the water. He shouted, "Damn! What the hell is Xiaoqi doing? Just kick him in the ass a few times and then hide, okay? Wait a minute, you have to kick him hard in the ass." As soon as he thought of this, he had already found that the shadow of Xiaoqi he regarded Mimi as Xiaoqi had been reflected in the water, and Yule in his heart immediately slowly dived over, wanting to kick the old bastard hard. At this time, Xiaoxie sneaked closer and said, "Why does Xiaoqi have red water to rely on smack?" He slapped Mimi in the ass as a warning. Mimi twisted her waist and smiled, "Little wrongdoer, you are so unrealistic, don't be in a hurry to be like this, wait for you to feel better, come and help me take off the red belly pocket, it will be unbearable in the water." She thought it was Xiaoqi who beat her ass and rubbed oil. Xiaoqi walked up and threw away the statue, and wanted to pull out the red belly pocket,